Instead of spending money on ads, I decided to give it away. I've been running ads for GOM Venture Club, the community of early stage founders. You can join now, link in the description. But it wasn't doing that much anyways, and I just want to talk to more people at this stage. So I decided to give away my entire ad budget. So I made 2 Reddit posts that immediately blew up. The offer was simple. I will buy your thing. All you have to do is let me document, review, and post that review on YouTube. Here is one of those reviews. Okay, SLEKE. I wasn't going to do this, but you guys commented on the sheet. You were the only people to comment on the sheet, and you like messaged me in 3 different ways. So it seems like you guys are really interested in this and really excited about it. And so I'm going to make this review video, but I'm not going to buy the phone. Instead, I hopefully want to give you something that's a bit more valuable, which is all the reasons why I decided not to buy the phone and what I would do if this was my product, right? And I think hopefully, I mean, obviously, I don't know what stage you guys are at. Obviously, if you're, raking in the sales and phones are flying off the shelf, then ignore everything that I'm saying. But just in case it isn't, I'm just going to point out the things that I see that I would do differently based on my experiences. So first, let me just go through my customer journey, which if I had to summarize it in one word would probably be confusing. I didn't really understand who it was for and what it actually did. So the message I got from you, the founder, was that you're building an operating system. But when I actually click through, that's not mentioned anywhere. So if I look up OS, nothing, and operating, nothing. And I know that you have this tab here, which took me a little bit to find, but I did find it. But outside of that tab, there isn't actually anything on the main landing page that tells me clearly the thing you're building is an operating system. And the phone life balance, I understand that this is the problem that you're solving, but it doesn't tell me anything about how you solve it, right? This could be an app that promotes phone life balance. It could be coaching. It could be consulting. It could be a bunch of different things. And so when I landed, I was a little bit confused. And then when I click through and click buy now, there's a couple of things. Number one is the phone beta. If you're selling me a phone, then the beta is really alarming to me because I don't know what that means in the context of hardware. Is the beta hardware going to become outdated? What happens in that case, right? When are you planning to launch a SLEKE phone that's like SLEKE hardware? Then what happens to my beta phone? What happens to my $333? So that was an immediate concern that I had. Number 2 is if I click read more, the things that you ask of me are pretty involved, right? And I get it because it's a beta test. You're looking for people that want to give their feedback and you're trying to generate user feedback and you're trying to iterate on a product. But at that stage, asking for this kind of a price tag for a consumer product it's quite a big ask. So if we just go through what you're asking, willingness to use early stage technology. Okay, so you're asking me to take a risk, a $333 bet, basically, that this thing is going to work. Onboarding and interviews with the founding team. So you're asking for time investment and sort of a direct interaction with the founding team. Open communication about your good and bad experiences. So it's not enough to just have the interview, but it sounds like you're expecting ongoing communication and ongoing time investment and patience. So more time, right? So if we kind of think about the value equation of, what's the likelihood that I'm going to get the outcome that I want? How valuable is the outcome that I want? How long is it going to take? And how much is it going to cost me? It costs me quite a lot because you're selling me a Pixel 5 phone, which I think goes for, let's see, used Pixel 5 phone goes for around £100, it looks like. So Pixel 5 phone, £100, $120-ish. So price, expensive. Time delay, you're asking for patience. It's a beta product, so there's going to be a time delay and it's pre-launch, so massive time delay again. Likelihood of achievement, it's a beta product and you're asking for willingness to use early stage technology. So there's a smaller likelihood that I'm going to actually get this product that works. And then the problem that I'm solving, right? Like the value of this thing, I'm not sure, right? Because I don't know what it looks like to actually use this thing. I don't have any demos. I don't have any information that I can consume that kind of scratches that curious itch in my brain, which is like, what actually is this, right? Like I didn't know what this was, and what it took to find out what it actually was this video, right? This interview live stream that this guy does, where he goes over the phone. I forget where it is, but yeah, he goes over and actually uses the phone, and that actually showed me much more about some cool features, right? Like the answer-based search engine. You've got Perplexity built into your OS. That's kind of cool, right? Like the App Store. Oh, okay, I understand now. Like anything that kind of shows off more of the phone working would, I think, be very beneficial, because that would answer some of the doubts that I had about what this thing actually was and what my experience was going to be like when I'm using it. And so if this was my project, and again, like if your phones are flying off the shelf, then please ignore everything what I'm saying, that I'm an idiot. Let me know in the comments. But just in case it isn't, if this was my project, what I'd do is probably film some demos of the actual OS working, just to show that it's not some like Figma file, or like, did I just say it? Yeah, like it's not one.jpg that I pulled off of Canva, right? Like it's like an actual working thing that you're already testing, right? Like, because this man seems to have a working version. And by the way, like, just want to make it clear, this clearly is something that people like, that people care about, because the reactions in the comments are really good. Like, Sleek phone looks promising. People seem to like what you're doing. And there seems to be a community of people that are pretty enthusiastic, right? Like, I didn't realize this was like a sub community, but this man has 27 subscribers, and he has 1.8 thousand views on a 2-week-old 2-hour-long video. So like, people care about this thing that you're building, and people seem to react positively to it. So I think it's just a matter of like, I would see that, and I would see that positive feedback, and I would want to involve more of those people, right? Because if I'm doing something that's kind of like hackery and niche, and it's got like an enthusiastic sort of techie community behind it, and it's like a hardware product, and it's like more tinkering, like I just want people to be more involved. And so what I would do probably is do some kind of like a update, almost like a Kickstarter, right? Like, because it feels like that's the sort of stage that we're at, right? You're like getting Kickstarter funding for this project. So, you know, if you think about what happens in a Kickstarter, there are different tiers of funding. There are like updates. You have like a blog, a roadmap that you're trying to follow, so that people can see what you're doing with your product and where it's going. And people know exactly what they're getting and what they will get once it comes out of beta. Like, I think all those questions, I would want to answer all those questions before I expect people to really like buy into this thing. And if my product is further along than just image prototyping, then I would want to make that very clear, right? Like, I would show people that this is actually a working thing. Like, the search engine works, which it did for this man.
So minimal company.
Let's see. See if we can find the actual example here.
I do have some email.
So he is using it, right? He's actually using the thing, and there are apps on the App Store, and like, it's so much further along than I would have expected from just going on their website, right? So if I've done all this work, and again, if this was my product and project, then I would want to show that off. Like, I would want to make people feel at ease that they're not just throwing away $333 to nothing, just to your mission and your vision, but that they are going to get an actual product that they can use. And I would also make it clear like what that would look like in the future, with future iterations of the product. Like, what's the roadmap? Like, what's the eventual goal? right? Like, is it just an OS? Am I just going to ship an OS that eventually people can download and install themselves? Or is it going to be a sleek phone? Like, do I want to go into hardware? Like, do I want to make it like really sleek? I don't know what the answer is. And if I don't know, then I don't buy. So whatever my choice is there, whatever my eventual goal is, I would just try and make that very clear. The other thing is, who is this for, right? So you or someone you know, if you or they are looking for a solution which purposefully limits the functionality of the smartphone without overdoing the restrictions. Okay, this could be anyone, right? Like, this is kind of like describing the symptoms rather than the exact type of person that this is targeting, right? So something that came to mind was this could be something that is for high-level founders and CEOs, right? Like, that's a pretty good market to target because they tend to have money, they care about saving time, but they also have apps that they need to use, like finance apps and stuff. So like, that could be your target market. I don't know what your sort of feedback has been, and like who you've found actually is buying the stuff and using it, but whatever that target market is, I would try and define that much more clearly. So if this was me, I would probably target it towards high-level founders and CEOs, but hey, I don't know what your goals are eventually, so maybe it's different. In summary, I guess you're trying to do something that clearly you guys are very excited about, and apparently people are also very excited about it. And so I'll just try and communicate more clearly, and try and solve an active pain point and make it clear what the problem is that you solve to people, because it kind of took me going through your Instagram and watching those 3 reels at the bottom of your Instagram page to realize what the problem was that you were solving. These 3 videos explain the problem that you're solving really well. Maybe we can learn some of the copy from here and put it in the main landing page, because I shouldn't have to do that, right? Like, I don't want people to do that. If they're coming onto my landing page, I don't want them to have to go through my Instagram to find out like exactly what the problem is that I'm solving and why this needs to exist versus just like an app or the other dumb phones on the market, right? So I would just make that very, very clear. But yeah, those are my initial thoughts and what I would do if I was running this project. I hope you found that helpful.